But with that, I think we are ready to hand it off to Dr. Dotson to get us started.
All right. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you, Jeremy. It is great to see you all. Appreciate you being here. I do have a long list of updates, so I'm going to try and be brief and focused as I move through them so I don't take up too much time. I want to start with a quick safety update for the month. The Safety Committee is establishing their meeting dates and times right now. We want to thank everyone who participated in the Active Assailant Training Module 1 during Flex Week in August. We will have Module 2 training coming up in January during the Professional Development Flex Week, and we are encouraging everyone to attend that. We are moving in the direction of establishing an active assailant drill for this year, and in order to do that, we're starting with some training so we can make sure everybody feels well prepared going into that about our run, hide, fight, emergency response model for active assailants. Our EMP work groups were just approved yesterday by the College Council, so we will now be moving in the direction of implementing those work groups. So our educational master plan was approved by the board last fall. That is the strategic plan we committed as an organization to a series of outcomes, and it's got a few years worth of work for us to do. We're focused right now on getting the EMP work groups in place for the first year of outcomes that we established to start on. And you will start to hear more about those through both governance and through your vice presidents and supervisors moving forward, thanks to the College Council's approval of the formation of those work groups. We are, as you probably noticed, in the throes of our Building 800 remodel, and that will continue until about January. We're certainly hoping it will be done in January. In addition to that, you may have seen that yesterday, they started placing construction equipment and the fencing for the softball field relocation. So things will get a bit messier with more construction equipment on campus. There is large chain link fencing that's going on out there. I did want to make you aware, one part of the softball field relocation is re-pouring some cement sidewalks in front of buildings 100A and B, and redoing some of the parking spots in front of building 1800. So whenever you do a large facility remodel or project like this, you're required to complete a certain amount of ADA or accessibility improvements. Because of the location of the softball field, which is on the southwest side of our Marysville campus, there isn't a lot of ADA work to do out where the field is specifically. So instead, we identified some locations that were high priorities because of a higher traffic count to improve accessibility. So the sidewalk, for example, in front of 100A and 100B has cutouts in it for those who have mobility access issues. The sidewalk is not even. It needs to be even. Once it's uneven at a certain amount, has to be torn out and re-poured. So that work is going to actually be done first before a lot of the construction on the softball field starts. We don't have a final schedule for when that's going to happen, but we will certainly communicate with you as soon as we do. I expect that to be very, very soon, though, so you'll see that happening. The cell phone tower is also up, minus the branches. So it's just a tall pole right now. It's not very attractive. It will look better once the branches are placed, but it's nice to see progress occurring around that project as well. A lot of other facilities projects in the works, trying to finalize the design for the building 1000 and 200 remodel, also trying to move forward in the design process for 100B and 300 as well. So there are a lot of project user groups meeting to finalize all of those projects, so we can start to see those come to fruition soon also. As you all heard at Convocation, we are starting our process to write our ICER, our Institutional Self-Evaluation Report for accreditation. We do have time for this. We have just over a year, but It does require a rather significant number of approvals, and obviously it's incredibly important for us to ensure that everybody that needs to have a voice has a voice in that process. You're going to start to hear more updates from the team that is leading that process soon. But I want to just make sure you are all aware that this is our chance to provide our voice in the ICER and to have the conversations we need to have so that when our peer review team meets, we feel confident that what we wrote in the report is puts our best foot forward and does demonstrate that we meet ACC-JC's standards moving forward. So if you are interested in being involved in that, please be on the lookout for emails and updates through governance and through our email system about what that process is going to look like, because this is our chance now in the writing process to have the conversations we need to have to make sure we all do agree we're meeting ACC-JC's standards. We are starting a few new things this year, and one of them will happen on Monday, September 11th, and that's Pizza with the President. We'll be ordering 20 pizzas in the hopes of a high turnout for students. We'll also have raffle prizes available for students to encourage attendance as well. We've advertised it with flyers on campus, through the reader boards, through Canvas announcements. I've shared it with the college community, etc. This is an opportunity for us both to connect with students, but also get a little bit of feedback. We're going to have some poster boards where they can vote with some dots or share some feedback and information, just to make sure that things are going well, and maybe learn about what is going well, and then to learn more about what we can do to improve moving forward. So if you would encourage your classes or the students that you work with in your programs to come by Flavors at noon on Monday, September 11th, we'd love to have them there. We will also next week, it's going to be a crazy week, so I have apologized to Zulema before, but I'll publicly apologize again. It is a bit of a crazy week because the day after the board meeting, we're going to have our first You Need to Know breakfast. This is where 25 leaders in the Yuba Sutter community will come to our campus to learn more about the things that we've been able to accomplish in the last few years and the things that we are hoping to do, and that'll occur in the morning on the 15th as well. I also wanted to share, and you should have received a calendar invite to this, but Dr. Pan is going to be hosting open office hours on campus, and his first open office hours are September 20th on campus from 9 to noon. He is hoping that you'll stop by and similar to my open office hours, say hello, introduce yourself, get to know him. But certainly if you have questions that you want to talk to him about, this is a great chance to do that. He's going to be here for a few hours, so that hopefully will work with your schedule, so you'll get a chance to stop by and see him. I also wanted to let you know that we expect, so the Yuba Community College District Board established an ad hoc committee to look at the potential of going out for a bond. We have traditionally as a district done a general obligation bond, which is for the entire district. There was a second option, a school facilities improvement bond. That school facilities improvement bond is a shorter term, smaller amount of money, but can be focused on one college or the other. That ad hoc committee reviewed the options, had some discussions about where we are and where we need to be in the future. They acknowledge that we certainly have a great deal of work to do at Yuba College in our facilities, and that we need to have funding to be able to do that, but also acknowledge that we probably don't have the right foundations in place to be successful in a bond campaign in November of 2024. So I expect that they will recommend to the full board that we not move forward with a fall of 2024 bond, but instead do the work now foundationally to lay the groundwork for us to be successful in a future bond election. So things like sharing with the community what has been done with past bond funding, what we've been doing outside of bond funding as well, because we've certainly been innovative and successful there. so that when the time comes, the community will have a better understanding of what we have done and what we need to hopefully lead us to a more successful bond campaign moving forward. So I wanted to share that with you. Last update on this slide, and then I have one more that I want to share with you, is that we have two spotlight options that we have to share directly with the YCCD Board of Trustees. The first is once every quarter, we have a chance to nominate one of our CSEA professionals to be recognized by the board through they receive a check, a stipend check, and some recognition at the board meeting. In the past, we have worked through the management team to gather nominations for that. And we will continue to do that, but are going to try and expand nominations to include the broader community. So you will have seen an email that went out for us to try and move that forward for the September board meeting. In addition to that, every month we, for the last 3 years, we have included a spotlight of one of our faculty members, through a story, recognizing them for their unique skills, abilities, education, the things that they do that make them special and incredible. And we just sent out another round of call for volunteers. We've had really good success with people volunteering, but if you haven't been featured, we'd love to be able to feature you in a future board report for Yuba College with the board. My last update is the district's facilities master planning process. I will admit I underestimated the amount of involvement that we will have at the college level in the facilities master planning process. So I'm going to do my best to try and catch up on communicating what that's going to look like moving forward. The goal of the FMP process is to have the board approve the district's final FMP in the March or April 2024 board meetings. As you all know, to get there, there's a series of steps that need to happen. And so I wanted to share with you that this fall, there's going to be a survey developed and sent out to students to gather some input from them about the facilities and work that they are hoping that we will focus on and do. And then we will also hold a series of forums, both for employees and community members, to give some feedback about our facilities and prioritizing what we need to do. Some of that feedback is, hey, here are the things that don't work well in our existing facilities. So, maybe the air conditioning doesn't work, or maybe the lighting is not very good, etc. So some of it is existing structural issues that we want to gather. Some of it is future thinking. So what are the next remodels or next spaces that we need to have in order to be prepared for the Yuba College of the future, community college students of the future. So this fall, that feedback will start occurring, and we will very soon be establishing dates for those things to happen, and you will hear from me about those occurring. A draft will then be created of a Yuba College Facilities Master Plan and a Woodland Community College Facilities Master Plan. Yuba College's draft plan will work its way through locally in our governance process through the College Council to get some feedback about the draft, make some edits and then make a recommendation. Woodlands planned will work through their institution. They will then be combined at the district level and working through DC3. There will be a final version that's presented to the board. That's a compilation of both institutions' facilities master plans for the future. So please be on the lookout for information about that. I will do my best to communicate often, since we are just a little bit behind on that. And with that, I will turn it over to Jeremy.
Thank you. So just some quick updates for the Office of Instruction. The different areas are just wrapping up the schedule process for spring 2024. The majority of that was completed at the end of last year, just kind of finalizing that now. Summer and fall 2024 scheduling is about to get started. We do that really early. I want to thank the Academic Senate for working with us to get faculty reps identified for the different divisions. So we're implementing a new practice for the scheduling meetings. So we will have a representative for the meetings related to CT and workforce development. Sherry Benson will be the representative for the meetings related to arts and education. We will have Brian Condry. And for the meetings related to STEM and social sciences, we will have Melissa Ha. So I look forward to welcoming them into the meetings and communications. For program and area of interest website redesign, the Guided Pathways group for the last year and a half, couple of years, has been working to figure out how to update the way that we advertise about our programs and about our areas of interest on our website, to inform students about the paths that we provide and how they can complete those paths of study. And so we are now ready to launch, but before they can officially launch, we need to work with each of the individual faculty in the departments to look at the drafts and provide feedback and give some input, as well as once that's done, maybe get some general feedback. And so right now the process is that at different division and department meetings, Greg Kemble and Corey Champ will be splitting up to go and make some presentations and get some feedback. We've already gotten some student feedback. We had a great focus group process for that. And then we'll probably do kind of a general college-wide feedback survey with the plan of implementing and launching over the winter break so that by the time we come back for spring, we have new pages. I do want to put in a plug for something that Melissa Ha did a recruitment for. We are looking to host 2 meetings with the same group of faculty about student success teams. Our counseling faculty had some great meetings to talk about how student success teams would work and the counseling role in that. And now we need to look at what that instructional faculty role would be. And so we're hoping to get engagement from our instructional faculty in this. Please look at that request from Melissa Ha, and we hope that you'll be interested in participating. The 2 meetings are September 26th and October 11th. They are via Zoom. And then just a preview of things to come. We will be working, there will be many conversations, many opportunities to review, but we will be working on realigning our instructional areas, so our divisions and departments around the areas of interest. So just in case you don't remember, they are listed at the bottom there, but we will be working on kind of realigning how we are structured in instruction around those areas of interest. That will be a process that we work through this year to see how it would look and then look to implement. So with that, I will hand it off to James Lohman, who is the principal of our Marysville Middle College Academy.
Thanks, Jeremy. And hi, good afternoon, everybody. It's nice to see so many familiar faces that I've seen on campus or interacted with. We started a dual enrollment high school, and it is our campus is the 700 building there at Yuba College. And so for all of you that I've met so far, thank you very much for helping us find our right place, or making sure our students are in the right place, or welcoming us to tutoring. You guys have been really great and really helped make our students and our staff feel part of the team. This really is a true dual enrollment high school. The students are taking classes in the morning from MJUSD, from teachers that we're bringing to the college campus to teach the classes. And in the afternoon, they're taking courses from Yuba College. So when students are graduating in 4 years, they will finish with 220 credits, which is a high school diploma, and 60 units, which should be enough for transfer degree or an AA. So each student is getting a kind of customized education. We do have classes Monday through Friday in the 700 building, and we're actively recruiting our second cohort, which should open in January. So thank you for letting me jump on this Zoom, because it's nice to just get my face out there, and thank you everybody who has stopped and said hi. And if you have questions about middle college, or if the middle college kids, because they are freshmen in high school that we're training to be college students, if they are in the wrong place, feel free to reach out. And I really appreciate everyone's support so far. It's off to a great start, and thanks to all of you.
Thank you, James, and we are excited to have you and your students on our campus. I have the next slide, which is the department highlights, and I wanted to highlight our ESL program, and particularly Rupi Bajwa and William Cook. Prior to this year, we had really, really low enrollments. We were lucky to hit double digits. And William came in, and I don't think he's here. I keep watching the participants, but he came in at the beginning of the semester and said, "What do I do for the waiting list?" And I was like, "The wait list?" And he's like, "Yeah, I have students on the wait list." And I was so unbelievably excited because I hadn't even been watching it, in all honesty. But the work Rupi and William have done for the program is absolutely amazing. They have managed to increase the amount of outreach that they've done, which has resulted in the highest enrollment they've had at least since the beginning of the pandemic. They have increased the number of our ESL students, and almost 100% of our ESL students have said that they're interested in pursuing a 4-year degree here at the college. They've also restructured the program, which is allowing students to finish the ESL program in 2 to 3 years. And then this fall and spring, he's working on creating an ESL 1A program, and that's in tandem with our English department. But it will be an English 1A for our language learners. And so it's for any of the students that need additional language support. He asked if I would share. I said, "What are some of the highlights and things that you guys are most proud of?" And he loves their absolute amazing retention rate. He said almost all of their students have gone on to, almost all of their students have gone on to finish the program or persist into the next. And he said this is in spite of everything that's going on in their students' home countries. And he and Rupi have been an amazing support. We have a lot of students from Afghanistan. And so they are dealing not only with being here in a new country, but also all of the turmoil that's taking place at home. And he and Rupi are supporting the students through that. And so I just want to thank both of them for all of their amazing work with the students and with the program. And I look forward to everything they are doing and the next steps that they're going to take with it. So if you see them around campus, if they're here, please congratulate them for all of their work. I'm going to hand it off to Tanya.
Hi, everybody. Well, I will keep it brief because the real magic happens in each individual office that will be providing updates. But we just wanted to welcome everybody back and also say thank you, because over the summer, our student services folks were busy helping students identify what classes to take, how to get into those classes and pay for those classes, and then how to access resources and support to be successful. So we're all looking forward to continue working together for the good of our students and for a great 2023-24. You will see throughout this presentation and through lots of emails and announcements that we are really trying to increase student engagement during this year to welcome students back to campus, both with in-person and virtual activities, to really build a sense of belonging and relationships with students and us as their staff, faculty, administrators that are supporting them. So we ask that everyone please help to encourage students to take advantage of these workshops, events, and activities to really feel connected to the college. We have some new employees in student services that will be introduced throughout the next couple of slides. We are continuing to hire and fill our vacancies in student services, and we thank our partners that have assisted on those recruitment committees. And then finally, we're going to have our department spotlight, which was going to start with counseling. And so I'm going to turn it over to Chris Sanchez, who's going to be our first student services speaker and do a little bit of a deep dive in what happens in counseling.
Thank you so much. So I really wanted to talk about the services that we provide in counseling. We are here to help students complete an educational plan so they can have a pathway to whatever they're wanting to do, whether they want an associate degree, a certificate, or ready for transfer. We also evaluate transcripts from other schools to ensure that students are not duplicating courses that they may have already taken. We help students with career counseling, making sure that they get what they need. And we also help students with crisis assistance and referral out to our communities. We do personal counseling because sometimes students may be struggling. This may be the first time that they have come to college and they're not quite sure how things are going. That's why we're here, to help them. We also help them do transfer admission agreements. It's called a tag, what we normally do that. And we are here to help students because we want to make sure that they have all the information that they need and are ready for transfer. We also help students with academic renewal. Let's say a student, when they first attended college, they weren't doing so well, but then they've come back and they're doing great. We can do an academic renewal and readjust their grade point average. We help students with readmission. Maybe they've sat out a semester and now they're ready to come back. We want to welcome them back to Yuba College, and we do a readmission petition. We also help students that are on probation, either level 1 probation or level 2 probation. And they meet with a counselor for 1 hour to talk about what happened, what things can change, how many units should I take? Am I on track to take the right units? And lastly, I wanted to make sure that all of you know that each day we have drop-in services. Drop-in services are for quick questions that we can help students. Oh, I decided I want to take another class. I'm not sure which one to take. Come on in. I think this is very important. We're trying to have drop-in services every single day for students to answer those quick questions. As faculty member or other areas in student services, why would you want to refer a student to Yuba College, to the counseling department? Well, they need to change a class, or they're not sure. They might want to drop a class and not sure how that will affect their financial aid or how it's going to affect their pathway. They want a prerequisite clearance. Let's say they took a class at a different college, but now they want to continue. And so we need to go ahead and look at that to make sure that it qualifies. They want to change their program of study. Maybe when they first started school 2 semesters ago, they were in psychology, and now they're deciding, oh no, I really want to go into business. So we help them. We help them by clarifying their roles. Not quite sure when they first start what I want to do. We have some conversations. I meaning the counselors, have conversations. If you have a student who is having some academic difficulty, please refer them to the counseling department. This is an opportunity for us to talk to them, to find out what is going on, make sure that we give them the right referrals so that we can help the student be academically successful. Students who are disclosing to you personal or psychological issues, we encourage you to refer them to the counseling office. I have received a lot of email messages from different faculty members who have concerns about students, and I am more than happy to refer a student to one of our counselors to call them and just check in on see how things are going. Lastly, we want you to send a student who is asking you about transfer and they're interested and they're not sure what we have available. I suggest that you refer them to come to the counseling office. And with that, talking about transfer, we are having a transfer fair, and we have about 30 representatives from CSU and UC that will be coming on Thursday, September the 21st from 10 to 1 p.m. I'm sure that you remember this from last year. It was a great. At present, we already have close to 700 high school students that will be attending, but my goal this year is for faculty members to really encourage our students, our current Yuba College students, to come out and find other universities to be ready to transfer. And that's my goal for them. We will be sending out an email where we can have different departments sign up, because we want you to come and share all the wonderful things that you're doing. And then they can also meet with different universities where they can transfer. Our counseling, our students from Yuba College, we're going to send something out where they can come and meet at our tent, because we will be providing a lunch ticket for them. So we will have that available. If you have any questions, or if you want to volunteer, if you're not going to be setting up a table and like to volunteer, please send me an email and we'd be happy to have you volunteer for this wonderful event. Next slide. I'm going to be talking about admissions and records because Angel is out of the office. She wanted me to make sure that you realize that census was due on Tuesday, September the 5th. For short-term classes, please make sure that you're looking at the correct due dates for your census. And all faculty members should be dropping students if they've never attended or had questions. One of the great things is we have a great video that can help you. So I really strongly suggest that you go to that video to help you if you have any questions regarding certifying census. I'd like to turn over the time to Martin.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm today here. I want to ask for your help and remind you about the 23-24 FAFSA and California Dream Act application still available. There are still some students in our college that haven't completed the FAFSA or California Dream Act application. They're still on time. Some of the students may have a balance for the tuition for this fall semester. And completing the FAFSA or California Dream Act application may give them the California College Promise Grant, or what we used to call the fee waiver, so that the tuition is covered. If any of the students already pay their tuition and they complete the FAFSA or California Dream Act application and they do receive the California College Promise Grant, they can also request a refund for what they had paid for tuition for this fall semester. So please help us pass that information to the students so that they can take advantage of completing these forms. And if we go to the next slide, I want to talk about Better FAFSA, Better Future, what is also called the FAFSA Simplification Act. The Department of Ed has been very busy since the 21-22 academic year, going through some FAFSA simplifications, okay? So 21-22 to 23-24, those changes have been implemented. The main ones is the removal of the requirement of selector service or the drug conviction question on the FAFSA, which made students ineligible for financial aid. And by removing those requirements, those students became eligible, and that component was implemented. But mainly for the 24-25 academic year, our students are already used to completing FAFSA applications beginning October 1st, okay? Well, this year, the 24-25 FAFSA form will be opening in December. We don't have a specific date because the Department of Ed is still working on making those final changes on the form. Now, with these changes, the Department of Ed is changing a 40-year-old system to a completely brand new system. They're changing the form, and I believe that, I'm sure that the form will be more transparent, efficient, consistent, intuitive with the students. But there are some additional requirements that are going to happen, okay? The student, parents, spouses, they are going to need an FSA ID to be able to access the FAFSA form and to be able to complete their components. With current process, if the parents are not able to, or even the students not able to sign their application because their FSA ID is not working, or they haven't applied for an FSA ID, the students have the option of signing a signature page, which is mailed to the Department of Ed. That signature page is going away. The Department of Ed is actually requiring an FSA ID. With the new FAFSA, the Department of Ed understands that it is going to be a completely new change. everybody, even financial aid students, is going to be experiences this new change. And the Department of Ed has been working on creating an onboarding experience process for the students and for staff that works completing the FAFSA. This onboarding process is going to clearly explain everything that is needed to complete this new FAFSA application. And also there's going to be an onboarding process if the student needs to make corrections to the FAFSA application. The other change with this new FAFSA is a role-based FAFSA form. With this new role-based, with the current process, a student or parent can start the application from start to finish. They can enter all the information and complete it, submit it. With the new 24-25, the student will be required to complete their portion of the FAFSA. That's one role. Parent or parents will be completing their portion of the FAFSA, which is their other role. And then if the student is independent, the student and the spouse, each one will have a role and complete their individual sections. So now what's happening here is the Department of Ed they're trying to do a more secure FAFSA website, which means that each individual role will complete their own part, but they will not have access to view the information from the other person or the other roles in this FAFSA form. Okay. Now, with each role, the Department of Ed is moving to a concept of contributors. The student, parent, spouses are considered contributors into this new FAFSA form. The contribution is asking the student parents to consent to the information that is going to be provided in this new FAFSA application. This consent is critical. If either one of them does not consent to the information that is being provided, the application is going to be incomplete and the student is going to be ineligible. So these are the new changes that are coming up with the 24-25 FAFSA application. We've been going through some trainings with the Department of Ed. They just gave us an initial presentation of the new FAFSA, but it is not official because they're still working on it. But as soon as more official information is coming to our department, we'll start making that available to all of you so that you can start helping us share this information with the students, okay? And for now, so I'm gonna pass it to Marcy to give us information about the SPS.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. We've had a number of contacts this semester from faculty who've had students tell them that they have accommodations through DSPS, but haven't provided the paperwork. And I think it's important that instructors have confidence in our system and know that student requests are vetted and processed according to Title V regulations. So I want to take a few minutes to share what occurs when a student wants services through DSPS. At the front end of the process, the student completes an application and provides our office with disability verification that comes from a certified or licensed health professional or an agency. Next, a DSPS counselor, an LD specialist, or director meets with the student to review the barriers that the student faces as the result of their disability. Together, they discuss the services that are authorized under Title V that will be necessary to provide the student equal access to the educational process. This is documented in the creation of the student's Academic Accommodation Plan, or the AAP, and this AAP then becomes the legal record identifying the academic adjustments and services approved for the student moving forward at Yuba College. So this first step is a one and done. It doesn't need to be repeated each semester or even each year. But what does have to happen every single semester is the student must submit a request to DSPS for the implementation of their accommodations in each specific course in which they want them. DSPS isn't allowed to inform faculty about a student's disability status or eligibility for accommodations unless we're specifically requested to do so by the student. So once we receive the requests from a student, we submit forms for their online classes, their virtual classes, directly to instructors through Adobe Sign. and forms for their in-person classes are given to the student to take to their instructors. Instructors are asked to sign the forms. Online forms come directly back to DSPS through Adobe, and forms for in-person classes are given back to the student by the instructors to be returned to us. The bottom line is that sometimes students forget that they have to initiate this process. So if a student comes to you and tells you that they've been approved for accommodations through DSPS, but you haven't received paperwork from us, please either refer the student to us or reach out to us directly, and we'll be happy to contact them. And now I'll turn this over to Ruth for our Campus Life update.
Hi, everyone. I'm just going to provide a brief update on campus life. On September 18th, we'll be honoring Constitution Day. I'll be over at Sutter campus from 8 to 10:30 a.m. and I'll be at Marysville campus from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. I'll be doing some activities with the students. We'll do spin the wheel and test your knowledge on the U.S. Constitution, and then a Constitution Day scavenger hunt at both campuses. And then each student or students who stop by my table will receive a copy of the U.S. Constitution and fascinating facts about it. And on September 19th, we'll be doing a voter registration drive from 8 to 10 a.m. at Sutter County Center and 10:30 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. at Marysville Campus Quad. We'll be having Sutter County join us. They'll be assisting us with registering students to vote. And then each student who registers will receive a free t-shirt, a free pin. And then also, I know that Sutter County will be bringing some merch, and they'll be bringing stickers as well. Next slide, please. And then this week, I'm working on promoting the Identity and Engagement Center. I know that a lot of students aren't aware that we have an Identity and Engagement Center on campus. So I've been working on giving them a tour of the Identity and Engagement Center, and I am working on getting feedback from students. What type of events do they want to see, and what type of activities do they want to see on campus for the different cultural heritage months? So I have this QR code and this flyer. It's posted on the campus app as well. And then we're going to be celebrating Hispanic Heritage Month from September 15th to October 15th. We will be having a meeting tomorrow to make all the events official. So events coming soon. Next slide, please. And then we'll be having Club Rush and ASYC advocacy days, September 11th, September 14th. Those will be the Club Rush days. September 14th will be over at the Sutter County Center from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. And then September 11th, we'll be doing Club Rush in Marysville campus from 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. And then the ASYC advocacy days will be September 12th and September 14th. September 12th will be from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. And then September 14th will be, actually September 13th will be at the Sutter County Center from 8 a.m. to 12 p.m. With that being said, I will hand this over to Lily.
Hi, everyone. I just have quick updates and introductions. I am super excited to welcome and introduce 2 new staff members to our EOPS Care Next Up CalWorks department. So first I'll start off with Tammy Banta. She is our new administrative secretary. Welcome. And I also have Juanita Ceballos, our clerical assistant. Tammy had just graduated here at Yuba College. She was a prior EOPS student. And Juanita's from our area. And so I'm happy to have both of them here from our area, and they're excited to serve students. So if you guys see them around campus, if you haven't met them already, say hi and welcome. And real quick, I put on here what EOPS is, CARE, CalWorks. Next up is our new program that we are bringing on to our department. And real quick, next up is the program that is for our foster youth, for those of them that were in the foster system on their 13th birthday or after. So you bring them over, call us, Zoom us, talk to us. In person, we can talk to them and talk about the program services they can apply online or in person. Okay, so again, real quick, just thank you, and have any questions, please visit us in 100B. Thank you. And next up is Anita.
Thank you, Lily. Hello. We have been very busy in basic needs. We currently have about 8 workshops going on. This month we have 4. The The first one will be the cooking demonstration, which will be tomorrow. It'll be in flavors, and that was a really popular event last year. So we brought that back for our students to show them how to eat wisely and live longer and better and be healthier with healthier foods. Also, we have the wellness series. We have the second part of the wellness series. And even if students miss the first part, the series of 3, they can still join. And so the link is there. So please encourage your students to join the wellness series. And also we have students, we have our next event about saving. We want to show the students how to save, for those emergencies that they're going to have, simplify the strategies of saving. And with that, we also have the event of, we want to show the students how to increase their credit score in order to get an apartment, in order to get a home or a car, you need to have good credit. And so we want to show them the tricks on how to increase their credit score. And that will be, we'll have Sierra Central here to provide that training. And with that, I will go ahead and turn it over to Meredith.
Thank you. So I'll make mine pretty quick. First of all, I want to point out these are the senators this year for the Academic Senate, Yuba College Academic Senate. You'll note that we have an at-large replacement for that's a 1-year position. And I believe Melissa Ha has sent that out, information about that out. If you haven't received that, let me know. But we're looking for a 1-year replacement, which is a great way to try it out and see if it's your thing. We're also looking for a part-time at-large replacement that's underway. The election committee has reached out, and you should have already heard about that. And I think it's already closed. I think if you haven't had a chance yet to express interest, it may be too late, but I'm not sure. Feel free to reach out to me if you have questions. But then also just want to point out that these are all the people, if you have questions or comments or concerns about anything that could be Senate related, you can reach out to me or you can reach out to any of the people listed. You can see there's people within each division. If we could go to the next slide, please. I just wanted to really quick bring up 2 recent conversations. Both are still underway. We've just started, and if you have interest in any of them, please reach out to me or any of the people listed on this slide. The first one is AP 5075, which is something that we have discussed many times in the Senate. It's the last day for students to add a class. It obviously has big impact. There's a lot of moving parts to it, and so we made revisions last year, not we, Yuba College, but the Yuba College district with everybody involved made revisions to AP 5075, but we still are working on that last day to add. So if you have thoughts or comments about that, please feel free to reach out to one of us. And then we're also talking about artificial and academic integrity. We don't yet know exactly where that conversation is going. We're starting that. We think that, and we're working with some people from Woodland. We think likely what will end up happening is we'll be taking suggestions for revision to the student code of conduct to DC3 and College Council, but I don't know yet. We haven't had the conversation. So if you have thoughts or comments or concerns about AI, certainly feel free to either join in the conversation or pass along your thoughts. If we could go to the last slide, or my last slide, not the last slide, sorry. These, and it shouldn't say recent discussions, it should say committee openings, sorry about that. These are some committee openings that Melissa Ha has sent out. There are others as well, but these are currently open. So you can right now fill out the survey that she has sent out and say you're interested in a position. If there's multiple people, then we have a little selection group. There are also past openings that are still open, and those, if you just want to work and volunteer, not volunteer, right? We're paid for it, but if you want to work and be on another committee, there are options there. So certainly look at Melissa Haas. But these right now, we're looking for that Academic Senate 1-year replacement. Outcomes Committee, we're looking for some. And then Professional Development Committee, we're looking for some people. You can see who to contact in all of those, although always certainly feel free to reach out to me if you have any Academic Senate questions, or reach out to Melissa Ha. That's all that I have. With that, I'm going to pass it off to Eric Burns.
Thank you, Meredith. Hello, everybody. Eric Burns, Athletic Director. I'm also administrative co-chair of the Faculty Staffing Committee. And then I'll also report on some alumni and friends activity as well. The faculty staffing work group, we will be sending out request forms later this week. We will be sending those to the deans and directors. So any ideal requests for faculty staffing, get those forms from your deans or directors. The deadline for submission to the committee will be 9/27, September 27th. You'll send those to, those will be sent to Dan Turner, but those should be sent through your dean or director, as they will endorse those. They will endorse those requests, submissions. Dan will also be setting up some training to help anybody with completing the request forms, and also adding some transparency to how we grade those forms. He might set that up as either a flex activity, or we might set up open Zoom sessions, but when we send out the forms, the instructions on that will be included. And you can ask all kinds of questions. Next slide. So the athletics update, you all, I think, were probably not all, but most of you were present when we did a presentation on the new logo and revealed the new football uniforms. Got lots of positive feedback on that presentation. And I just wanted to take the opportunity to let everyone know that that was Crystal Gilming, that was her spirit team, that was Dean Toche and Dr. Dotson, who helped put that together and make that happen. It was fun, and it was great to hear all your positive feedback on that. I just wanted to pass along those individuals had a huge role in that. So, but it was fun. Also on the screen there, it may be lost in that presentation on Convocation Day, was this QR code for a link to a merchandise and apparel store with the new logo stuff on it. So your support of athletics in that way is greatly appreciated. Scheduled athletic events. September 8th, we will be having this Friday our first volleyball match at home at 6 p.m. against Cosumnes River. September 12th, we'll have a men's soccer match here on campus against Gavilan. That's a 4 p.m. game. The men's soccer team off to a pretty good start. They're 2-1. On September 14th, I will host a new sport meeting in the 1201 classroom at 3 p.m. This is an effort to gauge interest in sports that we do not offer. If you know of any student athletes who have said, I wish we had a rugby team, send them to my meeting. I'll also post the meeting information on the app for students to read. September 16th will be our next home football game versus Cabrillo College right here on campus at 1 p.m. That will be our second football game. We lost our first football game, but it was a very competitive game, and there's a lot of positive energy around our football program right now. Next slide, please. Outlook calendar, share with you all. We have an athletics events Outlook calendar. If you email the athletic office, we will give you access. You can see when athletic events are occurring, home or away, whether you are a faculty member wanting to verify what a student athlete might be telling you as far as their attendance, or just you want to attend games or matches. That Outlook calendar is available to you. Just to email the athletic office. You can follow our athletic programs on social media. We have a Facebook account, Yuba Athletics. We have Instagram, and we also have Twitter, which I think is now called X, whatever that is. And then we also have a YouTube channel, a Yuba Athletics YouTube channel, where we are streaming live our soccer, our football, our volleyball, and at some point this season, our basketball games. And then also some other stuff that we streamed our Hall of Fame event. We streamed recorded our orientation. So the YouTube channel is also a social media outlet for us. We are student athletes are being expected to do study hall this week and until the end of the semester. They have a 3-hour obligation. They will be doing that in the Success Center. They should be logging into the tutor track system, and that will be tracked by the coaches and myself. If there are any issues with student athletes using the Success Center, I would encourage the Success Center to reach out to me so that we can address those. This includes any center that has the tutor track logging system associated with. So the writing lab, the hard math cafe, anything like that. The success center over at the Sutter campus as well. And the student athletes are expected to do 3 hours of study hall per week, which is minor considering what they probably need to do to be successful students. I wanted to remind everybody about AP 4300. That's our transportation administrative procedure. Part of that administrative procedure is that student athletes are protected from penalty for missing class due to athletic events. That protection, though, and this is for you all to know and understand, is that protection only applies if the student athlete is being proactive and communicating with the instructors ahead of time to arrange for those that makeup time or assignment or whatever it is. That will include a form that is signed by the coaches involved, and then they should be providing that information to you ahead of class time. But ultimately, your communication, our communication with you and your communication with us, I think probably lends itself to successful student athletes. And then my last bullet point here is how can we support you in support of our student athletes? We certainly, if you are aware of a student athlete in your class, you're welcome to reach out to me or their coach if there are any issues with performance, behavior, anything like that. We'd certainly want to address it and be supportive of you, of those students in the classroom. Next slide. Alumni and friends. I have a meeting scheduled for next week, probably on Wednesday. If you are interested in participating, let me or Zulema know. We will share that meeting information with you. It'll be a Zoom. If anybody's interested in taking over Alumni and Friends, by all means, let me know. I would love to share the experience with you. If you have a project funding request, you can if you go to the website, the alumni website, which is linked at the top of the main website, there's a funding request form for any possible project that would support students or your program. Get that completed, send that to Zulema. We will consider it in our committee. And I think that's it for our alumni and friends. We definitely want to get our alumni and friends going for this academic year. That'll include finding people that want to participate, but also finding members and to renew memberships and connect a lot of our alumni with the students that are current and the programs that are in need of support. So thank you for your time.
All right, thank you, Eric. I'm going to pause and see if David joined us from the bookstore. I don't see him either. All right, anybody from the district that's here that wants to provide an update for the group? Okay. Then at this point, we've finished the presentation and we are here for any questions that you might have that we can answer. But if you are needing to head out, you're welcome to do that as well. Okay, I don't see any hands up or any questions. It was great to see. Oh, yes, Trustee Delgado just raised his hand.
I'm sorry.
I just want to say thank you very much for allowing me to be part of this. I definitely learned a lot of the services that's provided through the college. I had to admit I am not 100% aware of all the services you provided. This is a great education for me. And I do want to applaud all of you to do not only your job, but you add extra assignments to your own. And I am so glad that a lot of you choose to volunteer to help us provide better service to our students. Thank you for allowing me to be part of it.
Thank you, Trustee Delgado. Eric?
I was just going to respond to Maris's question. She had asked if coaches have said to talk to them if there are student athlete academic concerns. That's okay. That's absolutely okay. You're not obligated to do any of that, but in any ways you want to help the student athletes, you can communicate with the coach. You can communicate with me, and that feedback is absolutely appreciated. We would love to respond in a way that's positive for yourself and then the student athlete. Thank you.
Thank you, Eric. All right, everyone, it was great to see you this afternoon. Keep up the good work. Things are going very well at Yuba College, thanks to the incredible work that you all are doing. So we will see you again soon. Our next YuZoom is October 4th. Bye, everyone. All right, anything we missed?
I think Dr. Pan raised his hand at the end.
Oh, did he?
And then he left, so I couldn't even say, hey, we have a question.
It was nice. Oh, I need to stop the recording.